Welcome to Mind and My Business. We have Jack Cline, who is the founder of Youth Champions, an organization that I am just obsessed with. And I'm going to let you introduce it, but I want to give just a little bit of background. Jack is a very prominent real estate developer here in Los Angeles, and ended up starting this foundation that's been like wildly successful. I mean, even Meta World Peace has like caught on to it. He was at your event recently.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like it's starting to really pick up just a lot of attention. And I think I can see why, because it is one of the only organizations that pay you for an internship. So underrepresented kids, in communities that just don't have access, you actually pay them to learn life skills, to learn job skills. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So I'm a real estate brokerage investor, not a developer, but it's all right. Hey,
in my mind, you're a developer.
Yeah, I'm big time. But as far as the program goes, it's a 24 weeks of workshops. 6 what we used to call field trips, we now call them events because they've gotten to be so big. And through those workshops, we teach, as you mentioned, life skills. First, mindset. The idea that you're responsible for your thinking and you're responsible for your actions and behavior, and hey, you can tackle this world. Goal setting, mental tools. Hey, here's our 3-year plan. As when Meta came to our program, that was exciting, extraordinary. We went through workshops with the kids and the professionals that were in the room. Financial literacy, simple things like, hey, I have a budget and I've got to navigate through life. We take them to Finn Park, which is the field trips are coming up. Junior Achievement does a terrific job at Finn Park. Great programming. The goal setting, financial literacy, networking, how to introduce themselves, look at somebody in the eye, shake their hands, ask some questions. Curiosity is a big thing in the world. We have the challenge of folks that thinking that they know all they know, when that's a challenge I face with myself. And I know that curiosity is such a key to growth. We teach them courage. We take them to UCLA ropes course, where they're overcoming their fears. They've got the encouragement of the group. You have 100 people down there rooting you on, and it's extraordinary, the difference between a kid walking off the bus in the morning and a kid walking back on that bus in the evening. The level of confidence that they have, that they've been able to distill and understand they drew on their courage to overcome their fear, which that's exactly how you grow. So all of these things combined is it's been extraordinary to see how well they've done.
Yeah, the structure that you put together for it is incredible, and I was in awe when I had gone to your event, just how well designed it is, and I could tell talking to the students how much progress they made, even just from being in the program for a couple of months and ones that have been there all year. It was very evident in the conversations that I had and the questions that I asked. Can you take me back to when you kind of thought of this idea, or why you thought of this idea? Like, what made you want, and what turning point in your life happened that made you kind of be like, you know what, time to look at this?
Sure. Well, I mean, I've always believed in leverage, how to get the most out of limited resources, both time and money. And I've been involved with a very large nonprofit on their board of trustees, Ultimed, terrific at delivering medical services to the lower socioeconomic communities, outstanding delivery. They had a program that was helping kids get into college, which was great, because that's the pathway in the past that's how you get successful. The challenge was those kids were having trouble staying in school. And so what we came up with is it's really the life skills, because you're going to always have these obstacles, always have these challenges. How do you change the outcome?
What was making them not want to stay in school?
Well, I mean, they have their family experiences, all kinds of things going on, and it's hard. And if you don't have a clear pathway, if you don't know what your goal is, then you don't have necessarily the energy to overcome obstacles that you're not familiar with. And so that is part of it. Again,
can I just pause?
Sure.
Can we say that again? If you don't know what your goal is, you don't have the energy to overcome the obstacles.
Right.
That is actually really powerful, and you are spot on. I've never thought about it like that.
So what we were seeing is, okay, what is it that we can do? And thinking back in our own lives, thinking back in my own kids' lives, There's always obstacles, but it's really a mindset. And and that's where when we're seeing it today and manifest itself in our kids is the confidence of that that grows in it. And it's the ability I'll be able to figure it out. I am confident that I align and think through based on my basic values, filter based on your values. And then hey, once I get to wherever I'm going, I can figure out that problem, that obstacle, and come up with a solution as long as I understand where I'm going. And so what we discovered, and this is the beautiful thing about this organization, we're learning all the time. We were doing a kind of an anthropological event with Wolfpack, so kids can understand that everybody has a role in the community. In the case, we were using wolves as our teaching tool. And one of the coordinators stepped off the bus and said, "Hey, I got a busload of 50 kids here. They're all from Huntington Park. They've never seen the beach. Do you mind if I take our lunch and we eat on the bus and go out so they can walk on the beach?" And I thought, wow, they're 20 minutes away from the sand and they've never seen the beach. We assume so many of what our experiences are that everybody has those experiences.
Right.
It's not the case for our kids. And that really helped me my analogy is they know the 6 square city blocks. So they know their parents. Many times it's a single parent. They know a school teacher because they're going to school, and they go to a medical clinic. And so when you see the kids, their understanding of their pathways to success, their folks are working in a factory. They want more. That's not their pathway. They see the teacher, they see the medical professional, and they say, "Oh, well, maybe I want to go into medicine." Well, that's because that's where they see their pathways to success.
Right.
And so what we try to do is we bring 50, 60, 70 different professionals out that all represent different pathways. And that I think is really one of the key things that we do. That the opportunities out there are really endless. If you have a growth mindset, you know that you're to move forward, you need to create value for others. I mean, you can't just create value for yourselves.
Right.
And through that creation of value for others, you'll do more, you'll get more, you'll provide more. And that is really something that we've learned, through just observation of our kids.
And I think those of us who are in the self-development world or have done a lot of work on ourselves or consider ourselves successful, like we're so familiar with setting a goal. Like that's just kind of second nature. It's like we're always moving the goal. In fact, our issue is usually like relax.
Right.
Like look at what you've done. But, I can reflect on my own self. And when I was younger, like I don't ever remember goal settings. I don't even remember that being a conversation. Because I don't know, like, I think what you're saying, it's like that one pathway and you don't need a goal necessarily for that one pathway. You need to just be like showing up and doing what you're supposed to do. But I do think that creates like a weird dynamic because for me, the one pathway that I was really always kind of given was like you go to college and you get a career, but school was really difficult for me. So I was constantly failing my classes because I was just like, I am so sick of this. And no, I'm not. I don't want to be put in this room to get special help where everybody walks by and like laughs at you because I was in a small school and like that was the only solution. So I was like, I'm not doing it. I'd rather fail. And I'm still I'm not someone who learns in a classroom. Even when I took my Series 7, which at the time was the 3rd hardest exam in the United States, right. I had to opt out of like the whole course of like learning with the company that I was with. And I remember the company at the time being like, well, we give everyone 2 chances to pass this exam, but because you're not like going through the classroom style, like you only get 1 because you're doing it on your own. And wow. I was like, I have to take that risk because I would teach myself the material and then go to the class and it would screw me all up. And then all of a sudden I'm failing my test quizzes. So I guess my point in this is that like when you are only given that one path and if that path doesn't work for you, you do veer off the path. And I do think that's where a lot of like I started getting into trouble. Ended up getting pregnant. I dropped out of high school. Like I really stopped going to school when I was like 15, like I just was like, I'm done. So I like that there's a lot of different opportunities within Youth Champions to see like, oh, okay, like this is a really interesting path. Like who even knew that you could
right.
make money doing this or
right.
like it wasn't this far away thing. Because even when I mentored when years ago, I used to do a lot of mentoring, and it wasn't the students that I would come up with friction on. It was always their parents.
Yeah.
And their parent, I would just be like, what? No, I'm not like, what do you, like, they would just, it was almost like facing their own limiting beliefs.
Right. And that's it. But that's exactly the example that I think we all face. We all have these predetermined, this is our perspective. And so that's the only perspective we know, which is correct. Mm-hmm. Teaching the growth mindset, there's a whole boatload of perspectives. And with a critical thinking, maybe there's a little bit of this perspective that's a little bit better. And let's shift. Our goal hasn't changed. We want to be successful. We want to add value to others. We want to create value for our family, our community, our country. We want to do all those things. And as you open up and you explore the world, along with keeping, hey, I got to be a value creator. I can't be a victim. I'm a creator. These are also parts of our growth mindset that we teach the kids.
Yeah.
So that gives them control to pursue the pathway. Now, hard work. And that's one of the interesting things. If you hear all the successful folks, did you have to work really hard? Yes. Yes. The one key ingredient across all really lines. Right. Me too.
Yeah,
right. I mean, it's fun.
We're like, when's our next meeting?
Right. But that, and so much of the world outside, particularly social media, the fast buck or the fast thing or is, hey, work hard, pursue creating value, find what makes you interested and excited by creating value. Otherwise, if you're not creating value, it's a hobby, right? I mean, there's I love doing this. Well, if you're not creating value for somebody else, it's a hobby. If you love doing this and it's creating value for others, hey, now maybe you can make a career out of it. And a career does not mean that you're going to necessarily work for corporate America. It does not mean that you're necessarily going to go follow a consistent path. But even the parents of your students, that's all that they knew. Right? That was their 6 square city blocks. All I know is the pathway to success. And I think today, particularly with AI, particularly the disruption that's going to go on the historical ways we thought we could create value, they're changing.
Rapidly.
Yeah.
Rapidly. Is that something that you guys are addressing?
I'm very interested in, because we're hyper interested in having our kids consider trade schools, consider doing things that, because if it's money, and if you go into ChatGPT 5.2 and you ask, hey, what is the best outcome? Computer science, engineering, business associate degree, and trade school. That is the number one return on investment. So when you're looking at that, so now you can think critically. If it's something that if I want to make money, and that's how measurement of value, that's not the goal, it is a measurement. But if that's what my measurement is, how do I get there? So if you do that, then we want to make sure the kids are exposed to that. I want them to do what they want to do based on analyzing their interest, based on sticking to their values of value creation, of understanding that the 5 things they spend the most time that's the reflection of them. So when you start these little tiny lessons, all of a sudden they get it. And it's really exciting when you see a sophomore walk in, and then you see them next year as a junior. And then you see them as a confident leader in the workshops, leaders at our events, used to be known as field trips. It's like, wow. I mean, it just gets you excited. So it's working. And then the fact that we have so many alumni, again, we started 9 years is a long time, sort of, but we started with 30, then 60, then, we had about 100 kids. I was talking
to some of your alumni. I'm like, wow, they're so polished and professional. I was like, okay. We do.
Last year we had a series of breakout rooms, panelists from different industries. And, so we first had our facilitators, be the moderator. Then we had our alumni moderator, everybody super impressive. Then we had our students as a moderator. I'm all, holy cow, where are these kids from? They were kids in our program. They are just shining examples of a kid who has an idea of doing more and understands that he has confidence or she has confidence because of the courage. Because every time we're uncomfortable, we're growing, right?
Right.
And so you continue to look for uncomfortable situations based on the pathway that you want, based on your goals. You're going to constantly be uncomfortable. But these kids are now, as they've gone through the program, they've got confidence. I'm confident. I'm okay with being uncomfortable. I know this is a sign of me growing. I can figure it out. with hard work. And so that's the kind of the layered learning that we see manifest itself in our alumni and students.
And I saw that when I was at the event when we were doing the round table, and we all had to go around and share something that they're working on that's like, an obstacle, I think it was. And you could see how uncomfortable it was for some of them to be sharing what was going on. And like one, they were getting bullied. The other one was he was kind of funny. He was like, I need to stop messing around and lock in. I was like, oh, okay, bet.
They can find the solution themselves. They just got to recognize it. You can't solve the problem until you identify it.
But even just doing that exercise where they're having to speak to someone they don't know, which was me. They never had met me before. Also, Hazy was there, someone older than them. So a little bit different type of intimidation, I think a little bit, I can remember back
100%.
in that. But you can see how each one, like their volume was different. And but that practice is you could feel the discomfort, but I'm like, wow, this is so great. Like, because it is uncomfortable to have to share something that's a little vulnerable in general at that age. It's like everything, you're a walking embarrassment. Like you're walking to avoid embarrassment.
As an adult, it's uncomfortable to share. I mean, it's just uncomfortable. And that's the courage to overcome it, to know that the end result is you're going to be better off. I mean, we pay tens of thousands of dollars for professional coaching. We're delivering that. And these kids, you asked, and I didn't quite answer your question on we pay them. They earn it. It's really important
to differentiate that.
For me, it's not we're not giving it to them; they're earning it. They show up, they do the work. A lot of times, it's an opportunity cost for our kids. These kids have obligations to their family. Whether it's watching the younger siblings so the parent can work the second job, or they got to actually contribute to the household income. Mm-hmm. And so one of the discoveries and stickiness, a lot of kids will show up because, I can make some money. That's great. But then once that happens and then their growth mindset comes into play, now they're showing up because, sure, they earn something, but they're showing up because they're getting so much more. Just like we do in our careers and our lives and what we're doing. Yeah, we get paid, but we're showing up because there's something more than just the money. And Youth Champions provides those tools and ideas, and certainly successful as a result.
You guys just dispersed like $150,000 to your kids recently, didn't
$151,000 first semester first semester earnings for our kids.
Let's go.
Which is exciting to us. We had 500 kids in the program. They go through. It's a point system based on their participation, and that is a signal of our success, is how much are these kids earning in our program with us. We expect that to continue to grow. I mean, it's a substantial commitment, but I think that the proof is in the pudding. So many folks, particularly folks that aren't growing up like our kids, who don't come from that background, they think, why should I pay them to learn? Because they have opportunity costs that I didn't necessarily have, my kids didn't necessarily have, but they have real opportunity costs. So it really works. It's what's so exciting is that the network effect of the program. One student comes from one high school one year. Next year we get 6 kids. One student comes. Next time it's his cousins, his brother, his younger. I mean, so it's demonstrating in the marketplace that it's valuable to the audience that we're going after, right?
Yeah.
And it's proving itself. It's proving itself as being an effective program. Same thing with our facilitators. I think we just our new class of facilitators, because we basically ask them for a commitment for a semester at a time.
Yeah.
We had 23 that have made a commitment this semester.
Oh,
23
amazing.
Professionals that come up. And so they're coached as well. They're facilitating our curriculum. The volunteers who come, they get so much out of it. I mean, thank you very much for you and Hazy showing up. I think it was extraordinary.
Oh, we loved it.
It's extraordinary for you too.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary for our kids, extraordinary for those that participate. And that's what we love to see.
And Meta said it was the best time he ever had. It was he was like, and that was from him. He was like, this was the best experience he had. We wish we had more time, so maybe next time we're gonna have to open up a little more time for Mr. Meta. But yeah, that was great. And I love that you're connecting like the connection to money and opportunity and the realness of that is so, even just from like a spiritual or energetic standpoint, like there's so many nonprofits out there and organizations that are doing a really good job. But when the money is the goalpost for some people, because it's like, that's a matter of survival. It's not a matter of like, I want to be like this is like, I want to be able to, and we live in California. So it's like, even the thought of being able to have your own place could be out of reach at any, like a long, long time for a lot of people. But connecting that, like, oh, this is what this feels like. And their body is going to remember that. And like, that's going to be easier for them to manifest, and things that are like, they're used to having that. If I had that when I was younger and I was able to know like, oh, this is real, I would be searching for that feeling again and how to replicate that.
Right.
And I would be looking for those opportunities. It always felt like to me, like it just wasn't possible. Even when I was like 18-ish, like I had already had my first daughter. It was like everything was like, oh, your bachelor's degree is required or any degree is required. And I didn't even have that. So it was like, it felt like a lot of different obstacles. And it took me so long to find a path. I mean, luckily I had gotten licensed for doing securities trading, but like it took so long. I never liked doing that. It was never something that I was even remotely interested in. I think I've always been entrepreneurial. And like, I have so many stories of when I was younger of, trying to charge my neighborhood to create like value for them. I remember the parents would come and complain about me all the time. And I was so upset and offended because I was like, we as kids don't have anything to do. And I would organize like all of these different activities, but I was like, yeah, you guys have to pitch in for it. I can't like go up the street and rent the movie and get the popcorn if we have no money for that. But like, I was always very entrepreneurial, and it was never a path that was like, it was always like people who own these big companies were the only ones that I could, or that I knew or looked at around me. And like, that was so disconnecting for me.
Right.
I never knew that I could make even 6 figures just doing my own little like side hustle gig.
Right. Yeah.
So I love that there's so much different exposure. And I think we have to be committed to some organizations like this as like people in the world today, because I'm seeing a lot of these younger generations come up, and like a lot of them like apply for jobs at my agency, and I'm just like, how are you even showing up for this interview like this? Like, I had a girl in the car, she's like phones down here, and I'm like, do you not see who we are and the fact that you made it through, and like this is the experience that you're giving me? So even small things like that, I'm just like, not, and I'm not blaming the parents, but there is a little bit of a parenting epidemic, like on how like.
I think absolutely. And it's a challenge. I think so many, hey, send them to school. They're supposed to learn something, but the skills that they need to be successful are not necessarily taught there. And we need to continuously be aware of it. And I think actually now with AI, I think everybody has to look at themselves as an entrepreneur. I mean, the concept of I'm going to work lifetime for a corporation, and then it's that, I think that world's no longer around. That's not the future path for the students that are in high school today. And so many of the things, I mean, again, our book clubs are some of the strategic coach books. Our ideas, our format is what I learned in strategic coach on our Zoom calls, the breakout rooms. These are all tactics and tools that I've learned from other folks.
Yeah.
And I think that is an accelerator for these kids. It's just so exciting. And I always tell people, I can't sell you on participating. I can't sell you on donating. Mm-hmm. You come meet my kids. You come see them at one of our events. They'll sell you, because you will see firsthand the impact that our program has had, but more importantly, you'll see the results. This is the product. These kids are extraordinary. I mean, one of our first kids ever to go to the Ivy League came out of our program.
Really?
She's currently our alumni representative on the board. We have, there's not one school, whether it's, I think we had one of the kids go to Princeton, Stanford, Yale, Harvard. I mean, we got kids going all over, and they're not kids that are, blue blood. This is how they were raised. These are kids that have exposed. I can't take credit. The program can't take credit for them.
But
They're
you
terrific
could.
kids coming in, but we didn't mess them
Right.
up. That's they were outstanding. But that's the kind of product of our product is what are the graduates and the alumni? It's unquestionably extraordinary results. So.
Yeah, and you don't have to be local to LA to get involved in this organization. Like you can be anywhere. And I just want to really reinforce, please, if you have a skill set, if you have some type of, or if you have a story of you overcame your, major challenges in your life and you've been able to, just get on this extraordinary path, please reach out to Jack and see if you can share that story with his students, get involved in this organization. If you're a corporate donor and you're involved in different organizations, this is one that you would definitely want to align with, because the impact is real. We need this generation, this new generation that's coming up to be able to have these skill sets, and you can't just leave them off on their own to know that they're going to do it. And at some point your kids are going to be, if you have kids, they're going to be in their 20s, they're going to be in their 30s, and you might be seeing some areas where you may have messed up a little bit as a parent, because especially if you come from a more privileged situation, or it's something even myself personally, I've had to try to be very aware of, because you want to reparent yourself almost and give them the life that you didn't have, but that's not necessarily
Right.
And that bleeds into spoiling, entitlement, or just not setting them up for success, because you're you don't want to see them struggle. It's really painful, but it's those struggles build the confidence they need. And it's really easy to see oh, shoot, I should have been doing that a long time ago. Even Thanksgiving, I was talking to my best friend's son who's 17. I'm what are your goals? I'm text me your goals. I want you to text me your goals by Sunday. I'm are you learning AI? And because I'm you need to do this, because I just feel this sense of urgency for his generation now. And even younger than that they're going to be a little lost in the world, because we're in between the old blueprint of how you could be successful, get jobs, and the new one. And the way that, not to go on a tangent on this, but the way that companies are now, you have to be elite to get hired. It's already starting. There's the entry level, bye-bye,
Right.
because it's getting taken over by AI. So you're going to have to figure out a way to learn that trajectory on your own until we figure out what we're going to do with people coming out of college where they're learning. We don't need that type of entry level support anymore. So there's a gap. And a lot of companies, we're condensing, we're getting faster, stronger, better. And we have to have the A players. There's not a lot of room for the B's and C's where we could train them to be the A's. So I think there's a major sense of urgency for what you're doing right now in general. And if we don't tackle that, we're going to see mental health. We are seeing mental health issues. We're going to see a lot more drug addiction issues. We're going to see a lot of just really unhappy young kids.
I can't agree with you more. I think we need to shift the term from get a job to I got to be a value creator.
Ooh, I love that, Jack.
I can always have a means to support myself if I'm creating value. So when we shift that idea, sorry about that. When we shift that idea just in our mind, all of a sudden now we're thinking differently. We're not thinking I'm going to work for somebody else. No, I'm going to create value for somebody else, and that's why somebody's going to pay you. I think that's super important for kids and AI.
That's such a good
Because how
point.
can I use these tools to create value for others? Well, first I'll figure out how they can create value for me. Okay. Then how can I help others by me employing this, asking the right questions? Again, curiosity. Hey, approach somebody with, this is how I think I can help you. Okay, that's courage. I mean, all of the elements are that we're teaching are part of the skill set that's required to be successful. And I think everybody, it used to be, only a certain percentage of people are entrepreneurs. I think that's just a mindset. Everybody's an entrepreneur, always creating value. If you come up with that, you'll never have a problem getting a job. It might not be hey, you're going to get a pension fund out of this kind of job, but there will be a position for you, and you will be able to make money by creating value for others. So,
well, I can speak to that personally before we wrap up. Society 22 was born for that reason. I never even knew what an agency was. I never ever had any experience in PR. I had a personal situation happen with my daughter that we got the media involved in, and I started getting my hands, like I saw what it could do to like, we ended up using the campaign to like create, it went viral. We were able to go to the Supreme Court and present Morgan's Law, like all of these things. And then I just started helping people. It was only just the idea of like helping people like give value with that it turned into organically an agency. Right. I didn't even know what PR was.
That's a
like
great
someone
story.
had to tell me what you're doing is PR.
Right.
And it was funny because at the time I had a client, and when this person told me that I was doing PR and she was like, and this is how much PR costs, I was like,
hey.
I went back to my client. I said, I have good news and bad news. I said, the good news is you've been getting, this is PR. And like, no, that's why it's working so well. The bad news is it costs this much money.
Right. No, that's great. But that's exactly, you went out and figured out, hey, I'm creating value.
Yeah. Now
this is a tool. Now they have a term for it called PR. Oh, now I have a marketplace to go to.
And it's been, and ever since, and we have the same values within our company is like I'm always focused on like we have to be giving at least like 3 times the value, like at least that, like that's the bare minimum, and that's what we stay focused on, and the whole team knows that. So whenever they're doing things, it's like we look at it that way, and everything else kind of just takes care of itself, because it's a different energy than it is like, oh, I'm giving you, you're paying me to do this. It's like, no, it's a true, like, I really want to be of service to you. And like, this is the exchange that we're doing because of that. And it's just such a wonderful feeling. And I want to leave the audience with one more thing too, because I think what you said around the goals, if you don't know what the goal is, you won't have the energy to do it.
The obstacles.
I work with a coach, and energy is always kind of is a reoccurring theme in my life that I have to work on. And we were going through this like hypnosis thing, and it was this, it was just like, I just needed the one thing. And I created this one goal. It wasn't this like astronomical thing. I was just going to do one thing a day to move my business forward. And it's interesting because I just had another session with her, and she had written, and I had to like reach out to her and like every single day to be accountable. Like that's how unaccountable I was. She was like, you need to like do this. But she made this whole list of all the things that I did that I had been emailing her. And it was this massive list. And within 30 days, I'd like moved all this stuff forward. So you're so right. If I looked at that list of things,
it would be overwhelming.
That's a list that's been on my to-do list for like 3 years. It's things that like only I can do. It could be like writing a blog post, something that's like something that has to come from me. But it was so easy because it was the one thing, and my only thing was to take one action every day.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I'm this years old. I'm 45 years old, and I'm just learning this. Like, what?
Well, but that's transformative. Just think how now your trajectory is completely different.
Totally
than before.
different.
And I love what you said about 3 times the value. And that, just think of the world where we're all working on creating 3 times more value than what we get. What an extraordinary place we're living in, right? And it's
feels
30 days
so
away. I mean, it's really
just 30 days away. You're right. It's 30 days away.
Let's go. It's really, those are great ideas. I love that.
Wow. This was a good podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. And I'm actually going to re-listen to this. I feel like there were so many gems.
Well, thank you for being so supportive of Youth Champions, being part of Youth Champions. It's transformative for us. Hopefully it'll be transformative for you.
Yeah.
But just thank you very much.
What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you and Youth Champions? Is it youthchampions.org?
I think it is absolutely youth-champions.org. And give money. Yeah. Sign up to be a volunteer. Click in, communicate with us, and we will, once we capture you, we're going to also capture your heart, hopefully your wallet. We'll be all over it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jack.
All right. Thank you, Danielle.
Bye.
Take care.